Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. Psalm 32, verse 12. A nation blessed by God is one that pursues mercy, justice, and righteousness. It upholds values aligned with divine principles, fostering a society where love, kindness, and harmony flourish. Good evening to you all once again, and welcome to the third edition of Mindset Transformation, God Factor in Nation Building, brought to you under the auspices of the Coalition of Nation Builders. 2 months ago, we embarked on this illuminating journey, and tonight we continue with even greater insight and engagement. I am your hostess, Pastor Susan Esiama-Bequin, and on behalf of the team, I extend our deepest gratitude to everyone who joined us for the previous edition in April. The feedback has been overwhelming, positive, and every suggestion has been carefully considered. We truly cherished the vibrant discussion the last time, and we encourage you all to share your thoughts once again tonight to make this another enriching dialogue. This monthly Thought Leadership series airs every last Sunday of the month, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I want to welcome all my audience who have joined us. I appreciate so much, and God bless you. We are honored tonight to have once again our own Mr. Samuel Koku Anyudoho, a distinguished transformational strategist and transgenerational thinker who will guide tonight's conversation. With nearly 25 years of impactful contribution to Ghana's nation-building discourse, his expertise is both profound and well documented. Koku, it's a pleasure to welcome you back. The first and second section was exceptional, and we trust that tonight the Lord will use you as usual to lead us into another transformative discussion. To my audience, I urge you all to engage openly, listen attentively, and think innovatively. Let this be another step towards a meaningful mindset transformation. It promises to be both exciting and insightful. So don't forget to share the link with your friends and colleagues to join this special program. Once again, Koku, thank you for coming, and the floor is yours. Please take us through.
Well, Susan, thank you for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure. We began this journey. Like you said, this is the third one we are having. Beautiful conversation, mindset transformation, the God factor in nation building. And of course, we are looking at God being present in our national symbols. We have reduced or put God and left him only at ceremonies, what you refer to as ceremonial deism. And we remember God at ceremonies. I mean, 2 days from now, Ghana is going to be 65 when it comes to our Republican status. And I think to put this discussion in perspective, because we are dealing with the national flag today and the God factor, I think let's just listen to what Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, said, the Independence Declaration, when he hoisted our national flag. It will allow us to put the discussion in perspective.
Has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Now I want you all, those who have hats on, to take off your hats and let the band play our national anthem. And from now on, that national anthem is the national anthem of the Gogo to be played on all occasions.
song of the night was called Freedom High Life, written by E.T. Mensah, the king of African high life music.
So, Susan, I mean, this brings back memories. I mean, for me, the part that is exciting is the lowering of the Union Jack, which is the British flag, and then that significant hoisting of red, gold, green with a black star. And that is where we are as a nation. To what extent have we wrapped our nation building agenda around the significance of the flag? I mean, Psalm 27 and the verse 4, when the greatest king at the time, King David, says that for him, he desires two things. He's very specific. Two things: to be in the presence of God. He wished he could be in the presence of God daily. That's what he said. Knowing that is, I wish I could be in the presence of God daily. And to behold his beauty. Now, I use this text. Then you go back into Exodus 17, where after Moses led the Israelites to defeat the Amalekites in battle, I think that was the first time that we were introduced to Jehovah Nissi, the Lord my banner. In this context, God was the flag. He was the banner over Israel in that battle against the Amalekites. And so in other texts, people refer to national flags as banners. Now, Susan, the spiritual underpinnings of our national colors. So 68 years of independence, 65 years of Republican status. To what extent have we built a national psyche around our national symbols? And that's the conversation we are having on the platform of the Coalition of Nation Builders, because there is a strong and necessary and urgent need for us to transform. And if you look at what God has given us in terms of our brain and what we have, that is what God has given us. He created us in his own image. After the creation of Adam, God has not created any human being again. We have come out of that creation of his likeness. And the brain power he has given us, he says we should what? We should have dominion, multiply, fill, multiply and fill. To what extent are we establishing God's kingdom here on earth? And it is in the mind, only in the mind, because the mind that drives everything that we do. I mean, if you look at the analogy of the housefly and then the honeybee, two insects of virtually the same size. One decides to fly and land on filth. Another decides to land on nectar, pick nectar for honey. Now, Susan, the point I'm making is that it is in the mind that this whole concept of nation building takes place. And the challenge we are having as a people and as a nation is, what values are really underpinning and driving this whole thing called Ghana? And that is where we are, Susan. Mindset transformation, the God factor in nation building. And when you look at the colors, so now coming more specifically to the colors, and when God called Abraham out of his father's Terah's house and said, look, move, and I want to make you a father of men. Of course, before then, it was Noah. When God wanted to covenant with Noah after the flood, what was the sign? The rainbow. So the rainbow itself establishes the Shekinah, the glory of God. Of course, we have sat down and allowed some other group of people now to take the rainbow and are using it for their own agenda. But otherwise, because they understand, actually, they do understand the power of the rainbow. But if believers, if church and Christianity, we have failed to understand the power of the rainbow and the colors and what it represents, nature hates a vacuum. So other people have hijacked the rainbow colors and they're using it for whatever they want to use it for. How do God's people get back under that banner of the Shekinah to establish God's glory vis-a-vis nation building? And if you look again, the same God, when he took Abraham out, of course, one of the things that he showed Abraham, the stars, that as unlimited as the stars are, so shall your descendants, your inheritance, your glory, and everything be. So, Susan, this discussion we are having today, red, gold, green, and the black star, Republic of Ghana, 2 days from today, 65 years of Republican status. What type of mindset, what type of value system are we building around? And that's what we want to do. And I'm glad that the coalition, we have started engaging. And like you said in your intro, honestly, I mean, the feedback has been amazing so far. You're getting the same feeling, aren't you? Yeah.
Very, very amazing.
Very engaging, very detailed. You are meeting people who are very eager to come on board. And like we are planning to do, to build what we are calling the communities in the schools and within certain strata of society and begin to engage. Because yes, people are enjoying the monthly Zoom engagements, but of course, there's much more clamor for it. We are grateful that people are helping us with sponsorship. I'm sure when the time comes, you will do the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
So Susan, here we are. So the red, gold, and green. So we know that the red stands for the blood of our forefathers, the gold or the yellow, natural resources, mineral resources, the green for our forest vegetation, and the black star represented Africa. That's what they teach us at school. Beautiful. And that is where it ends. So in the research and in the conversation, it's like, so what? What ethics?
We basically forget after school.
That's it. We just wait Independence Day or Republic Day.
There's going to be a Black Star match.
Then there's a football match. Then, of course, when they beat us, then who cares about the national anthem again? I mean, it's like the anthem even brought bad luck.
Yeah.
But if you consider that when Kwame Nkrumah, so we heard him, even the fact that he said everybody wearing a cap should remove the cap before the band struck the anthem and the flag was hoisted. Kwame Nkrumah, of course, as we all know, was very spiritual. A theologian himself, many people don't know, but he was a theologian, studied theology at Lincoln University in the US, wanted to become a Catholic priest, but of course, because God has his own plans and purposes for us. But so that symbolism of everybody removing the cap was the strongest affirmation of reverence to God and to the Creator. We had moved from Gold Coast into a new republic, Ghana. Yawo akwala fufuro. Efrida danum aba fufuro. And these are the colors that are representing us. So reverence to the Most High and what, in some of my readings, in Nkrumah's vision, no wonder he had such a vast and endless depth of vision for nation building. And, working around closely with President Mills also, because he was a product of the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute, people like Professor Kofi Awono and Co. Susan. So let's get into the deep ends of the colors and what we are talking about, the God factor in nation building. So beyond the red, and like I said last month, even the decision to have the red as the first color in that layer, how many of us know why? So the red, yes, represents the blood. People sacrificed, shed their blood for Ghana to have its independence, or for the Gold Coast to have its independence and become a new African state. In Christendom, we know what the blood means, both in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. Blood is a symbol for redemption, salvation, atonement, deliverance. But for nation building, this blood that was shed for us to have our independence, to what extent have we applied it as a nation in terms of value system? To what extent do Ghanaians believe in sacrificing? Because that is all it means.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. People sacrificed for our independence. To what extent are we sacrificing to protect what it is that we have met for coming generations? Take 10 Ghanaians today. Can you seriously point to the value of sacrifice that from our childhood and from kindergarten through primary, secondary, and to university, that we wake up with a value system that appreciates sacrifice? So the red was put on top, that to be able to build Ghana, we must build value systems around sacrifice. Sacrifice in leadership, sacrifice in service to the nation. I was talking to a colleague lecturer recently who said he was teaching about a class of 40, 50 engineering students. And the question was, the graduating class, most of you, what do you leave school are you going to do? Guess the answer. He said he was shocked when about 95% of the class said that they were going to politics.
Oh.
The class of mechanical, chemical, electrical engineering students. And he said he posed the question further. Why? They didn't hide it at all. That's it. It's the fastest way to make money.
Yeah.
So if a class of 40 graduating engineers and even 35 are yearning to go into politics, and the mindset is because it's the fastest way. Our industries, the industries that we must build are all dead because the engineering students who must go into the field
Politics.
and go and build it are going into politics. Because if the value system had been created well, and we understand that actually this whole thing of politics is more of sacrifice than benefit, maybe things will change.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the whole concept of politics is that, hey,
my money.
Let's go. That is the best way and the quickest way and the fastest way. And this mother called Ghana is bleeding fast. So when you get to the colors, because we have not built the value system of sacrifice, which is the red, it has affected the two other colors. So the yellow or the gold, which also represents the presence of God and represents our natural resources. Because we don't believe in sacrifice, we have succeeded in devaluing and debasing the natural resources. Today, what is the conversation?
Okay.
Today, what is the conversation? Galamsey. Our natural resource, which is our gold, that we must be using for the total benefit of everybody. A few people have access, and all they are doing is destroying. But because all of it is not bleak, yesterday I saw something that caught my attention. Oh yeah, a government official, and she happened to be even a woman. And I think she's the CEO of the Minerals Commission or something. She actually jacked up, entered a certain forest area with national security operatives and went and apprehended 4 foreigners.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a brave one.
When I saw it, it caught my attention because I'm like, wow. So it's not a completely bleak picture. If a government appointee has now realized that sacrifice is what is needed to protect natural resources for the benefit and the use of all of us, Susan, with God, all things are possible.
That's a brave woman.
That's a brave woman. In fact, because I think 3 weeks ago, the same lady, I think, attempted something like that. She didn't succeed. But she's gone back again. Mindset. And this time, she was able, with the help of the police, to apprehend 4 foreigners. And I'm like, brilliant. That's my idea of politics.
Yeah.
That's my idea of nation building. That's what I was born into. I mean, growing up in Burma camp in the heady days of the June 4th, 79 uprising, and then 31st, my whole idea of student leadership and politics. That's me.
Okay.
It's more of that sacrifice to be able to give off what we can give. And I was excited when I saw it. If just 1, 2, 3 people have come to accept, and that's what we are also doing at the Mills Institute. Basically, it's mindset. You need a certain mindset. So the M is mindset. The I is integrity. So you need a mindset. You need a solid integrity to uphold a mindset. Then the first L is loyalty. So you must be loyal to the integrity to be able to uphold a mindset. When you have these 3 ingredients firmly rooted, then the second L is leadership.
Mm.
Then when you get into leadership, Susan, finally is to serve. To serve God, serve country. Before self. Self is last. Unfortunately, we have put self on top. And Niamenya, Nukapogamala, Minimana Yemi.
What's my share?
What is my share? To hell with this thing called Ghana. After all, what?
Mm.
And so, Susan, because we haven't built in the mindset of sacrifice, we are not protecting our natural resources the way we ought to. And so that's the mineral resource. And when you come to the green, is the vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are destroying the water bodies. Very soon, if it is true what we are hearing, that if we continue at this rate, even drinking water, we may have to import drinking water into this country.
God have mercy on us.
So it is more important ever now than before to quickly move and retool what it is that we call our mindset for nation building and recreate. That is why what you and I are working on with the coalition is that if at our level we have failed with the wrong mindset, that is why the agenda is to go to the base. Let's get to the base of the building strata. The church. You belong to the church, I belong to the church. We're all believers. The church actually should be the greatest theater for teaching. Oh, yes. Within the church setting, Susan, because Jesus Christ himself was a teacher. That's why his disciples called him rabbi, which is the Jewish word for a teacher. So what we should be doing, I mean, when we get into other discussions, because the same Ghana, our motto, what is our motto? Freedom and justice. So back to Nkrumah and his understanding of the God factor. He put it freedom and justice. But in Bible, what are the foundations of the throne of God? Righteousness and justice. Now, freedom itself is an aspect of righteousness. Yeah, freedom itself is an aspect of an offshoot of righteousness. So what Kwame Nkrumah and the nation builders did at birth was to give us that foundation. Righteousness and justice, freedom and justice. You see, Susan, because, and you understand, we all understand theologically, to be able to benefit from divine justice, there's an obligation to be righteous. Not perfect. There are two different things. There's no human being who is perfect. Otherwise, David himself have been the man after God's heart. Yeah. So in that righteousness, when your heart is seeking after God in a righteous manner, you will enjoy the divine justice that comes with being righteous. That's what Kwame Nkrumah and the founding fathers sought to give us. But because we used the word freedom, Susan, we have become more interested in the freedom than in the justice.
Exactly. Freedom of speech, freedom of this, freedom of that, forgetting that there's justice too.
So my typical example of that freedom that I keep using, and I won't stop using. So you get to a trotro station or a bus terminal, and the bus is loading. And right there at the bus terminal, alcohol is being sold openly. And the bus driver is sitting at an alcohol joint, taking his alcohol. And the conductor or the mate is the one loading the bus, Susan. When he finishes loading the bus, he now goes and says, "Master, can I am?" Then the driver tells the alcohol seller, "Oh, me kwaba." The alcohol seller is gracious enough to say, "Oh, and G for the road there." Then the next time he say breaking news. The bus, something has happened here, there, blah, 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 blah. You see how in this small scenario, the complicity of everybody in it. And when the bus driver gets into the bus, and you, Susan, you now smell alcohol on his breath, and you want to talk, what would other passengers tell you?
Why?
We are too noon.
We're in a hurry.
We are in a hurry. Oh, Sika, koto ankasa oka, here they pentem. You see how in this little scenario, the Ghanaian mindset has been turned upside down. So it is only when it's raining that we remember that we have rubbish in our homes. So we must go and empty the rubbish into the gutters. If you go and talk, the landlord says you are disturbing the other tenants. So Susan, herein lies the challenge we have when it comes to a Ghanaian mindset. And that's the conversation that we are trying to have.
Wow, interesting. Let me just acknowledge our viewers. Brenda Che, thank you for joining. Thank you, Della, for joining. Thank you, Martin, for joining. Thank you, Sifu, also for joining, and all the others. I am grateful. Thank God we are having a very nice time with more insight. So, Uncle Pooh, with what is happening now, can we say that our primary school, right, to maybe SHS, they are not really helping us to appreciate our national symbols, especially the flag and everything? Because right after school, you really don't even at times remember what you learned, and you just forget about the whole thing. So what can be done?
So that's why I'm saying that, and that is the ministry that you and I have chosen. It's a tough one, but with God, all things are possible. I was telling you before we came on air what happened to me at church today. So I was invited to a friend invited me to his church. Somewhere, Michael Griffiths is starting a new church, so somewhere in Bachuna. And a woman, so there's this Dutch missionary. She's been in Ghana for 38 years. And all she does is apparently she's based in the north, and she picks up mentally challenged people. She doesn't know them. Mentally challenged. So as we say, yeah, mentally challenged. We say mad, but mentally challenged. And she rehabilitates them. And today's own, she came with a lady. She picked up from Bolga, took her to Pantine. Pantine said there was nothing they could do medically, so they should just watch her die. Took her to Kolebu, same story, watch her die. And she said apart from the mental challenge, the woman could not speak. So for more than a year living together, they have not communicated verbally. But this is a Christian missionary, Dutch. And I'm like, wow, so the missionaries of before still exist. And she said she just woke up and kept telling God that, God, I mean, you are God. If science says it's impossible, you are a God of possibilities. Yeah. Susan. And she said she was able to communicate with her, the woman, and told her to pray. To cut a long story short, this woman who's supposed to be mentally gone and hasn't spoken for a year plus. Today, me, myself, I heard her speak and sing in church. And God, I was very emotional. I found myself dropping tears because I'm like, oh God, you are a God of possibilities. What man cannot do, you do. And as Jerry Eze will say, what God cannot do does not exist. So this ministry that we have begun with our team is a challenging one. And straight to answer your question, because we have space within the church, let's move away from the religious dogma, the religiosity, and now go into the practicality of how God expects us to establish his kingdom on this earth, because that's what he wants us to do. And that kingdom can only be established here on this earth for our benefit. But if we wake up every morning and we are reciting the Lord's Prayer, how do you even recite it?
Our Father who
art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And that's the part that we are interested in. Yeah. The daily bread.
Very important.
He said, no me here. But if we move from poetic recitals and begin to take God away from the ceremonies and situate God properly and rightly in God's original purpose for human existence, because God had an original purpose for creating the universe and creating man and putting man in the Garden of Eden with everything. God created everything. In fact, man was the last of God's creation. Yet, it is man that God gave all the power to look after his other creations. And that is the journey we have embarked on. In order to be able to achieve purpose. So yes, right within, I mean, I remember about 2 years ago, my children's school, for whatever reason, I will not mention the name, but because also for security reasons, so that bad people don't want to start tracking my children. But when I was invited to chair the Sit Match program, and if you go today, to the glory of God and in all humility, my gift to the school was to have the anthem and the pledge properly done, properly embossed. And so around the open yard of the school, at various vantage points, you will find the anthem and the pledge on the wall.
That's nice.
That was my contribution.
That's nice.
And the rationale, when I told the headmistress, I said, for me, I'm a nation builder. I started off, yes. So I'm still if people see you today and like, Charlie, we're not hearing of you again on the front line of the everyday politics. You know, in Proverbs, the Bible says, commit your ways to the Lord, and he will direct your words. Yes. I only found that today.
Okay.
It's not direct your path. He will direct your paths.
Okay.
Not only one path. So there's an S. So for me now, coming to a deeper understanding of God's purposes for my life as a nation builder, like you rightly said, a transformational thinker, because working closely with President Mills, he was a deep transformational leader, and the results are there for everybody to see. May his soul continue to rest. July 24th, 13 years since he passed on. May he continue to rest well wherever he is. And the kind of things that I was preaching. So for me, it is the nation building which has now become my ministry, not the everyday politics. Of course, politicians are the ones who end up becoming leaders. So yes. And I'm actually, an article that I'm working on now is Who Says God Is Not a Politician? You see, because what politicians have succeeded in doing, in pushing the church, Asophonia politics, and it's a very convenient tool, because when the church in its rightful place is the moral conscience of every society. In fact, you and I read in school, in theological school, that even the church was created by a politician, Constantine, the emperor of Rome at the time, who didn't believe in God, but went into battle. And it was the cross that gave them victory. That is where he did a U-turn and began to now accept the power of the cross and Jesus Christ. Is that not what they tell us? Is that not what we have read? So, even the whole establishment of what we call the church has politics in it. So, who can tell me that they say the church should not be part of politics? And I heard Apostle Eric Namiche a year or a year plus ago. I don't know if he still is, but at that time, He was the general overseer of the
Church of Pentecost.
yeah.
He's still the chairman of the Church of
Good.
Pentecost.
And they had a yearly conference somewhere in Gomoa. I think they have something there.
PCC.
PC, good. And when I heard Apostle Nyamiche say openly, emphatically, that the church, or at least his church, is going to begin to consciously train people for political office. Wonderful. Because that is what the church should be doing. To consciously train its own with the God factor. Critical leadership. And I am happy. Look, Susan, what we are doing, I have no doubt that the hand of God is on it. Oh, yeah. And within a certain short space, I was telling you about the Fix Ghana movement, which is affiliated to the bigger Fix Politics in Africa, which has Dr. Obi Ezekwelesi as sitting on top of it, affiliated to some group in Germany. Here in Ghana, Dr. Chega is a major lead actor in it. Dr. Grace Bediakon, former government statistician. Susan, then most recently, or just this week, I've encountered one Dr. Alabo, a retired foreign service personnel. Between he and his wife, they run what you call the SALT University. Beautiful. Susan, the appetite for God to take center stage in nation building is very high. Oh, very high. And I'm happy about the boldness. And honestly, I mean, to put things practically again in perspective, because it's about nation building, I must say that I'm happy that the concept of a national day of prayer and thanksgiving is coming back. It was started by President Mills. We had it in 09, 10, 11, and 12. So for the 4 years, we met as a nation and we prayed. As president, as a speechwriter, as his lead communications person, Susan, I saw the president pray before every cabinet meeting, and personally before every cabinet meeting and after every cabinet meeting. He sits in a vehicle, he will pray before the vehicle will move. We are in a plane, he will pray. Now, the point I'm making is that after his death, somehow the concept collapsed. So from 2013 up until last year, 2024, we never had the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. But thankfully, it's coming back. So on the 1st of July, they say there's going to be a National Day of Prayer. Praise God. Susan, look, because if you take the national anthem, I keep telling people, we say, God bless our homeland Ghana, make the nation great and strong. You come to the pledge, I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, so help me what? God. How then do we then relegate God to the background and think that we can actually build this nation on solid ethics and ethos? It's not going to happen. When we continue the conversation as it's building up, and I tell you one of the things President Mills was going to do, I think I can say it within 2 minutes. One of the things President Mills was going to do, Susan, in terms of the God factor, if he had lived for the second term, you know, this business where when you go to every government office and the president's picture is there.
Yeah.
He was going to change that concept. Ethical leadership, mindset transformation, God factor. What was he going to do? He says, look, Oku, in my second term, you see, because God is present in our national symbols, and because the words we speak are life and spirit, all I'm going to do is that when I'm appointing ministers or appointees, people like you, instead of my picture being in office, you decide on an aspect of either the anthem or the pledge that you will frame and put in your office. Now, that will be your personal covenant with the nation and your personal covenant with God. Now, when people walk into your office, the words will speak to them. Koku, which aspect will you? All I was going to take was cherish, fearless, honesty. That's it. So, Susan, you can imagine going to 10 government offices in a day and meeting different aspects
Of the
of the pledge and the anthem. That's God right there. It's not President Mills, because as for human beings, Abroni Bayinti, if the president's picture is there, because maybe you don't like the president, even though he has given an appointment, Ubedi Abro, so you do wrong things to embarrass his government. He says, I don't need my pictures to be in offices to be president. The most important thing to be president is to first of all get the mandate of the people and swear the oath of office. Once that is done, the business of this country is to deliver. And the only way we can deliver is when we center God in nation building. And Susan, that's where we are.
You said something right now that the building of this country is on what? God.
Yes,
Okay.
the foundation, righteousness and justice are the foundations of his throne. And we need that to be the justice. Where is the justice? Freedom. I mean,
So before you go into nation building and others, I want you to give me a brief, this Black Star thing.
yes.
Black Star thing. And we have people saying, why should our star be black? Some are even saying because our national team have the name Black Stars, that's why they are not performing and blah, blah, blah. Just throw a little bit of light to the Black Star. Then we move to the other aspects.
The star, like I said very much earlier on, one of the strongest signs God showed Abraham when he asked him to leave his father Terah's house was the stars. Now, so in the days when the Black Stars was winning the African Cup, the star was what?
It was still black.
Mindset. You see, we have dropped the whole thing into a box of mediocrity. The things that we must do to win, we are not doing it all.
Yeah.
Then now we want to blame a star. And I'm saying the star there is to represent the African continent. Yeah. In there. And the star, because the star guides, the three wise men or the Magi.
Yeah.
Was it not the star they followed?
Yes.
To Bethlehem to find baby Jesus. So the star itself, and the situating of the star in the gold or in the yellow hour, the richness of our resources, is that there must be a certain guiding principle, a divine guiding principle for the efficient and proper use of our resources for the benefit of one and all.
Yeah.
Not for the benefit of only a few. So as for the blackness of it, and actually the idea came from the Pan-African flag, which is also called the Marcus Garvey flag, which was created way back in 1920 thereabout.
Okay.
So if you look at a lot of the African countries, they have a mixture of these colors. The Pan-African flag represented severally, in several ways, in their national flags. And the Pan-African flag is basically black, green, and red. But the blackness itself also there. It's a certain mindset. It was the white people who called us black. Am I black?
No.
Are you black?
No.
They themselves, are they white? They are light-skinned.
Yeah.
So what makes them white and what makes us black? So it's a misrepresentation of that color speck called black. to mean negativity.
Yeah.
And so we wake up, and when we ourselves have not built a proper mindset, we just want to blame a certain color of star
Yeah.
that is sitting in our flag. I don't subscribe to that mindset at all.
So we have some few minutes left. Can you give us a summary of God living in our national flag?
I mean, when we began this conversation, we spoke even about God being present, not only in the flag, but even in the coat of arms. If you look at the coat of arms, the symbols that represent the seals of nations, if you take the Ghanaian one and you look at the eagle, left, right, then you look at, so there's a lion. Then you see the green in the shield. That's the cross. People don't know that that green in our shield is the cross, where you see the lion lying down. So that is God present there in the coat of arms itself. If you take the American one, you see, so this is just a comparison of nations. You see America, you see Nigeria. Nigeria has the two horses, what we call the stallion, but it still has an eagle. America has an eagle, but the eagle is doing something different from the Ghanaian eagle. And just yesterday, who did I listen to? I think the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. That's what they call this. We call ours Chief of Defense Staff. So the topmost vis-a-vis what's going on in US and between Iran and Israel, and what US is doing within the mix. And so if you look at the American coat of arms and you see what the eagle is holding. So it has the arrows and then the olive. And then the neck or the head of the eagle is looking more at the olive branches. Now, what the Americans are telling you is that at any point in time, America, we are interested in peace, which is the olive. But we are holding the arrows. If you force us into war, we will war with you. Now, this is what is carrying the spirit of America. And so when they say they are a superpower, and they say they are a powerful nation, these are the things that make them feel that way. As a nation, that's what we need to build. If it is, of course, if it is our flag, if it is energy, if it is strength, if it is sacrifice, that we want to begin to extol in the nation's psyche, in another 5 years, we should be able to wake up and say that, yes, we have built a certain mindset from the flag. And the flag is just not limited to only football matches and Independence Day and Republic Day, but there's a certain spirit now behind the flag that is speaking to us as a people, and that we are transforming our minds for nation building. And the coalition of nation builders, you and I and the team, by the kind grace of God, we will get there. Heaven knows. You see, the Suffolk Dancing song.
Yes, we are going.
We will get there. Heaven knows that we will get there.
Sure.
We know we will.
And with our plan to catch them young,
that's the best place.
From the school.
Yeah.
We trust in God that the next generation.
That's it. If we have failed ourselves, let's not fail the younger ones. Let's build a certain mindset into this nation called Ghana. And once God is sitting there and they understand that God is not an abstract being, but God exists and manifesting himself as a sovereign Lord, God, through all, not some, through all his creations. Susan, I believe strongly that on Judgment Day, you and I can answer some positive questions.
Sure. You know, time you ended with
the Frenchman.
Yeah, I like the ending.
Yeah, so this is Louis XIV,
okay.
A very powerful French king at the time, who was so powerful that he didn't give a toss about anybody. And that's when he came up with the phrase, L'État, c'est moi. L'État, c'est moi. Not, je suis l'État.
The country is me.
I am
the country.
the country. L'État, c'est moi. But because of this thing called flesh, and as fleeting as our existence is, but we don't know. And when we get power, we think that it is ours, and we don't know that it is from God and from above, and it's supposed to be used for his kingdom and his purposes. Justly ironically, the same Louis XIV, on his deathbed, what did he say? Je pars, mais l'État restait toujours.
I'm going, but the country is with you. Or
It means
remains with
forever.
you, forever with you.
Je pars, mais l'État restait toujours. The state is always there, but I am going. So, how did he come initially? By the mindset, l'État, c'est moi. So, Susan, at the end of the day, there's no state and no entity that belongs to any human being. So, Dieu est l'État.
God is the country.
Oui.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an insightful night we've had. It's unfortunate time will not permit us to continue, and we've come to the end of this powerful session of mindset transformation, God factor in nation building. It has really been an insightful journey, and together we have explored some of the informations on the Ghana flag and also how patriotic we should be and learn how to sacrifice. We've also learned the part to retool our minds and the vital role each of us must play in shaping society anchored on godly values. To every listener who joined tonight, I say thank you. Your time, engagement, and open hearts are the driving force behind this movement. This is more than just a conversation. It is the beginning of a transformational shift, and we are honored to have you as part of it. Before we go, I want to urge you all to keep the momentum going. Follow us on our social media platform displayed on the screens. And for updates on future episodes and more thought-provoking discussions, kindly share your takeaway with us using the hashtag Coalition of Nation Builders. We surely love to hear from you on how you saw today's session and how it has inspired you. Quickly, I want to acknowledge our sponsors. We want to acknowledge Healthy Choice Juice from Heritage Farms. Your commitment to providing fresh, nourishing juice help to fuel our nation-building conversation. We say thank you, Healthy Choice Juice. Their numbers are being displayed on the screen for you. And another special sponsor is Pef Delac Apartments, who give us this place to do our shooting every month, for offering exceptional accommodation and solutions that elevate comfort and convenience. If you want to contact Pep Delac, their numbers are there. Kindly call them for the best accommodation and also comfort and convenience. Your partnership really reflects a shared value for transformation, and we say we are grateful. We want to also call on organizations and individuals who are passionate about fostering godly values, leadership, and national transformation to come on board and sponsor this special program. This platform offers a unique opportunity to align your brand with a movement dedicated to mindset renewal and nation building. For sponsorship inquiries, kindly reach out to us via the contact details on your screens, and we will hear from you. Let's continue together with the journey of mindset transformation. Mark your calendars for our next episode, which is the last Sunday in the month of July, 6 p.m. And also, I want you to know that this movement has just started. Our aim is to help to transform minds and also let people know that we cannot build this nation on our own. God is part of it. I am Susan Esiama Bequin, signing off with faith, hope for our future. God bless you for joining, and God bless our homeland Ghana. Thank you. Bye-bye.